In this video we look at the complete process of making one of our bronze reproductions from an extant medieval brooch. This particular brooch is a 14th century English find and is owned by our good friend Rosalie Gilbert as part of the Gilbert collection. The reproduction process starts by building a detailed reference sheet with lots of close-up photographs and measurements, and using this we start to carve a wax copy of the original object. A lot of care has to be taken here to capture not just the general form of the original, but also to include a number of the subtle imperfections and asymmetries that distinguish medieval artifacts from equivalent modern creations. But once we're happy with our wax, it gets set inside a 2-part silicone rubber, and 48 hours later, once that rubber has cured, it can be cut open again to reveal a 2-part mould. Sadly, the wax master doesn't always survive this delicate process, but fortunately, we can now recreate infinitely many new copies by injecting molten wax into the silicone mould. Once we have a sufficient quantity of wax copies, they can be assembled into a tree, and this is placed inside the casting flask and encapsulated in the high temperature refractory plaster. Then it's into the steaming pot, and after a couple of hours of steaming, all of the wax is melted out, leaving a hollow void in the shape of our tree. The flasks then go into the kiln overnight, and they're gradually brought up to the casting temperature. 15 or so hours later, the moulds are ready to accept the molten bronze at 1000 degrees. A quick dunk in the quenching bucket, and the wax tree is now revealed to be a bronze tree. The brooches then get clipped from the main tree, and they spend 24 hours in a pickling acid to remove any oxide or residual plaster. Then they get a quick once-over with a file to remove any sharp edges, corners or flashing. The remainder of the sprue is ground off, and then they go into the vibratory tumbler with some abrasive media for a 6-hour tumble. This gives a rough polish on the brooches, and then they go into a 24-hour tumble in a walnut shell media with an iron oxide abrasive. Another couple of hours in the stainless steel burnishing media, and the brooches have finished their mass production polishing and are ready for tongues. The original brooch has a half-round wire tongue. Now, half-round wire is a little bit difficult to get, so we have to make our own from round wire and a half-round draw plate. But once the wire has been drawn down to dimension and profile, they can all be clipped to length, bent to shape, and assembled with the brooches. Then it's one final polish on the buffing wheel for a quick clean in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then the brooches are packaged up and shipped off, ready for sale at mainlymedieval.com.